Arizona, a land of crimson canyons, scorching deserts, and secrets buried deeper than the sands themselves. But behind the beauty lies something darker. Haunted ghost towns where the dead still walk, cursed mountains that swallow treasure hunters whole, and deserts where even compasses refuse to work. Tonight, we'll uncover the terrifying mysteries of the Grand Canyon State, stories of vanishing explorers, skinwalkers lurking in the night, and places where reality bends until it breaks. These are Arizona's most haunted and mysterious places, and once you enter, you may never return.
Arizona, a land painted in crimson cliffs and scorched by a relentless Sunday. Tourists come for the postcard beauty of the Grand Canyon, for sunsets over Monument Valley, for cactus silhouettes against burning skies. But beneath the surface, this desert holds stories far older, far darker, and far stranger than anything in a travel brochure. Here, myths are not just legends, they are warnings. Every mountain range, every canyon, every abandoned town has its shadows. And if you stay long enough, the desert whispers to you. Some whispers are echoes of history. Others, they don't sound human at all. From cursed mountains that lure men to their doom, to shapeshifters that stalk lonely highways, to silent zones where time itself feels broken. Arizona is a state where reality bends, and some say once you step inside its mysteries, you don't always come back.
The Superstition Mountains east of Phoenix. Jagged peaks cut a violent silhouette into the Sonoran sky. At dawn, the superstitions glow with copper fire. At dusk, they brood in purple shadow. From a distance, they're beautiful. Up close, the air feels heavier, the silence thicker. The Apache people considered these mountains sacred. They told stories of powerful spirits that protected the land and punished intruders. Some legends speak of the Apache thunder god, dwelling in caves deep within the range, striking down those who dared disturb the ground. Locals still warn, the mountains don't like to be bothered. But the name Superstition Mountains didn't come from the Apache. It came from the settlers who heard the stories, who noticed how often people went missing, how often expeditions failed. Fear grew with each disappearance. Over time, whispers of gold drew more men in, and with them, death. The most infamous legend is the Lost Dutchman Mine. In the late 1800s, Jacob Waltz, a German immigrant often called the Dutchman, allegedly discovered an unimaginably rich gold vein hidden somewhere in the superstitions. He kept the secret close for years. Only on his deathbed in 1891 did he reveal clues to a woman who had cared for him. Ever since, treasure hunters have scoured the mountains. None have ever confirmed the mine's location, but many have died trying. Treasure maps circulate like sacred relics. Some are forgeries, others built on scraps of Waltz's supposed confession. Hikers set out confident they will succeed where others failed. Many return empty-handed. Some never return at all. In 1931, Adolf Ruth, a treasure hunter from California, ventured into the superstitions carrying a map he believed was the key. He vanished. Months later, his skull was found in the desert, a bullet hole clean through it. Officials called it an accident. Others whispered he was murdered, silenced, to keep the secret buried. In 1949, another hunter, James A. Cravey, disappeared while searching the mountains. His body was later discovered without his head. Decapitation, never explained. In 2010, Jesse Capon, a hotel manager from Colorado, obsessed with the Dutchman story, set out alone. He studied the mine for years. He vanished. 3 years later, searchers discovered his remains wedged in a remote canyon. The list goes on. Dozens lost, dozens dead. Skeptics say the explanation is simple. The superstitions are brutal. Blistering heat by day, freezing nights, scarce water, treacherous cliffs. Even skilled outdoorsmen can get lost, injured, or dehydrated. Nature itself kills. And yet, the stories never stop. Hikers describe feeling watched, even when alone. Campers hear whispers carried on windless nights. Lights appear over the ridges, drifting, pulsing, then vanishing. Compass needles spin. Time feels wrong, hours lost with no memory. The Apache thunder god is said to guard the peaks. Some believe the land remembers every intrusion, every greedy step, every trespass into the sacred. Others insist there is a curse tied to the gold itself, that it will never allow itself to be taken. Is the Lost Dutchman Mine real? Or is the true treasure the mystery that keeps people searching, generation after generation? The superstitions remain Arizona's most haunted wilderness, where beauty and dread walk hand in hand, and every year, more footsteps cross their trails. Some make it back, some don't. Skinwalker Territory. Farther north, past mesas and endless highways, lies another legend. A legend not of treasure, but of fear. It begins in Navajo culture, whispered only with caution. The word skinwalker translates roughly to, with it, he goes on all fours. To the Navajo, a skinwalker is not a ghost or monster, but a human who chose the darkest path, who betrayed their people and their spirit by embracing forbidden magic. These witches are said to wear the skins of animals, wolves, coyotes, owls. With them, they take the form of the creature. They run with impossible speed, stalk prey silently, and watch with hungry intelligence. Sometimes they mimic human voices. Sometimes they take human form, but something is always wrong. The eyes, the movements, the aura. For the Navajo, skinwalkers are not campfire stories. They are a dangerous reality. Speaking of them openly is believed to draw their attention. Elders advise never to seek them, never to mock them. To acknowledge them carelessly is to invite them. In Arizona, especially around the Four Corners region where the state meets Utah, Colorado, and New Mexico, stories run deep. A man near Flagstaff tells of driving home late one night when a deer appeared on the roadside. At first, nothing unusual, but then the deer stood upright, running beside his truck on two legs. It kept pace at 60 miles per hour, eyes gleaming. Then, without warning, it vanished into the dark. When he told his grandmother, she only said, "That wasn't a deer." Near Window Rock, families report hearing voices outside their homes at night. Sometimes, the voices call their names. When they open the door, no one is there. Dogs refuse to leave the safety of the house. Livestock is found mutilated, without blood, wounds too clean and strange for predators. On the highways near Chinle, drivers have seen figures on the road human-like, but not quite. Their shapes shift in the headlights. Some melt into the brush. Others chase the car, sprinting faster than any human should. One family described hearing constant knocking on their walls. They lived miles from the nearest neighbor. Another spoke of seeing a man walk by their window, only to realize his face was a mask of stretched animal skin. Skeptics point to natural explanations. Sleep paralysis can produce terrifying visions. Exhaustion on long desert drives can cause hallucinations. Coyotes, owls, and deer can move strangely in the dark, their behavior easy to misinterpret when fear already lingers. But that does not explain everything. The mutilated cattle found bloodless. The multiple witnesses reporting identical events. The way locals refuse to discuss details with outsiders. Some researchers note a strange connection. UFO sightings often occur in the same areas as Skinwalker reports. Glowing lights, craft moving silently over mesas, missing time. Could the phenomena be linked? Paranormal enthusiasts argue that skinwalkers, UFOs, and poltergeist. But to the Navajo, the answer is simpler. Skinwalkers are not aliens or illusions. They are people corrupted, transformed, and consumed by their own choices. And they are feared not as stories, but as predators that still walk the land. Elders warn, never seek them, never go into the desert hoping to see one. That is not how respect works, and it is not how survival works. Even today, there are roads people won't drive after dark, hills they won't climb, places they will not go. Not because of ghosts, not because of superstition, but because the Skinwalkers are said to wait in the silence, watching, wearing borrowed shapes. Arizona's desert is wide and quiet, but not everything out there is what it seems. The Zone of Silence. In the vast deserts stretching toward northern Mexico, there is a region locals call La Zona del Silencio, the Zone of Silence. Its heart lies across the border, in the Chihuahuan Desert. But whispers say Arizona shares in its strangeness. The desert does not respect borders. The first strange reports began in the 1970s when a U.S. missile accidentally veered off course during a test and landed deep inside this desert. Scientists who arrived to investigate found their radios failing. Compasses spun wildly. Electronic equipment refused to work. Ever since, travelers tell of the same. Radios go quiet. Phones lose signal. Even birds fall silent. Sound itself seems to vanish into the air. Arizona's southern deserts bleed into this zone, and stories ripple across the border. Campers describe sudden blackouts of silence. No wind, no insects, no heartbeat of the desert. Then, just as suddenly, the sound returns. Some claim meteors fall more frequently in this region. Strange rocks litter the ground, as though the sky itself has been drawn here. Others say lights appear at night, hovering, pulsing, chasing those who wander too close. Skeptics argue that magnetic anomalies in the Earth could explain the compass failures, that unusual mineral deposits might interfere with signals. But even skeptics struggle with the stories of time slips. Hikers say hours pass like minutes. A journey that should take a day stretches to 3. Memory blur. Some forget entire nights. One couple told of walking under a full moon when 3 tall figures appeared on the horizon. Human-like, but taller than any man. Skin pale, clothes metallic. They spoke kindly, offering water. When the couple blinked, the figures were gone, and the desert was empty. Are these desert hallucinations? Trickery of isolation and heat? Or visitors drawn to this quiet place, where signals from earth and sky tangle together? Arizona's connection to the zone of silence is less a boundary and more a continuation. The same desert, the same silence, the same mysteries stretching endlessly. And those who wander too far into this silence often say the same thing. The desert was watching. Jerome, the ghost town on the hill, clinging to the slopes of Cleopatra Hill. Jerome looks like a town that should have fallen long ago. Once called the wickedest town in the West, it was a place of miners, saloons, gambling halls, and violence. Copper was its lifeblood. At its peak in the early 1900s, Jerome pulsed with 15 people. When the mines ran dry, the lifeblood stopped flowing. By the 1950s, only a few hundred remained. The rest abandoned their homes to dust and time. But not everyone left. Visitors to Jerome speak of ghosts that never stopped working, never stopped drinking, never stopped haunting. The town wears its hauntings proudly now, with hotels and bars advertising their spirits. Yet behind the tourist charm, the stories run deep. The Jerome Grand Hotel is the most famous. Once the United Verde Hospital, it opened in 1927 to treat miners injured in brutal accidents underground. Many never walked out. Today, guests report hearing gurneys squeaking in the halls, footsteps pacing above when no one is there, and doors slamming in empty rooms. Some wake to see figures at the foot of their bed pale, watching, fading with the dawn. In the old asylum, staff describe call lights turning on by themselves, as though patients long dead are still pressing the button for help. Elevators operate with no one inside. Shadows drift along the walls. But Jerome's ghosts are not confined to the hotel. The Spirit Room Bar is said to host phantom laughter. The old high school echoes with voices of children. Miners are seen wandering near collapsed shafts, lanterns swinging, faces smeared with soot. One chilling tale comes from the town's cemetery. A visitor walking among the stones late at night felt a hand grip his shoulder. He turned to see no one. Later, His camera revealed a misty figure standing behind him, eyes glowing faintly in the flash. Locals say Jerome is alive in two layers, one of the living, one of the dead. They overlap, bleed into each other. At night, when the desert winds sweep through the narrow streets, you can almost hear the town breathing. Bradshaw Ranch, the Forbidden Zone. Tucked in the red rocks near Sedona, Bradshaw Ranch looks ordinary at first glance: weathered fences, desert scrub, abandoned buildings. But behind its rusting gates lies one of Arizona's strangest stories. The ranch was built in the 1940s and used for decades as a Western film set. Cowboys rode across its pastures, gunfights staged in its dust. But when the cameras left, the real drama began. Linda Bradshaw, who lived there in the 1990s, began documenting strange phenomena, lights floating over the property. Governments seemed to take an interest. In the early 2000s, the ranch was quietly acquired by federal agencies and sealed off. No trespassing signs went up. Armed patrols were rumored. Why? Some say it was simply a land management transfer. Others believe the government was investigating something they couldn't explain. Bradshaw Ranch became Arizona's own Area 51, a place where dimensions blur, where portals may open, where the desert reveals more than it should. Even now, thrill seekers try to sneak close. They tell of hearing humming in the air, of feeling watched, of electronics malfunctioning without reason. Some claim the lights still appear, dancing above the hills. What was Bradshaw Ranch? A hotspot for UFO activity? A testing ground for secret technology? Or a doorway to something stranger? A thin place where realities overlap? The truth remains locked behind its fences. And maybe that's for the best. Closing reflections. Arizona is a land of extremes. Towering mesas, endless desert, canyons carved by time. But its landscapes are not just natural, they are layered with myth, with fear, with memory. The Superstition Mountains remind us how greed and mystery can consume a man. The Navajo stories of skinwalkers warn that evil often wears a familiar face. The Zone of Silence shows us how fragile our grip on reality can be. Jerome's ghosts echo the cost of industry and ambition. Bradshaw Ranch whispers of worlds just out of reach. These are not just stories. They are warnings, written in stone, in wind, in silence. Arizona is beautiful, but beauty can be a mask. In the desert, under the stars, you may feel alone, but you are never truly alone. Something is always watching,